This is Chris Potatoes. Like, subscribe to AEW Wrestling on YouTube, subscribe to my other channel, Word of Chris, and subscribe to this channel, Chris Potatoes, and follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and both of my TikToks. I'll be down there in the description box. And I'm here to do my AEW Collision February 10th, 2024 reviews. So here we go, discussing about tonight's episode of AEW Collision. Now we kick off the show with the first match of the night. It was a tag team match. It was Jon Moxley and Claudio Castagnoli, the Blackpool Combat Club, versus Star Jr. and Esveni. I think that's how you say his name. But yeah, it was a tag team match. And this match, it was a pretty good match. It was going back and forth and everything. Mox and Esveni was going at it multiple times. I think I said his name right that time. So yeah, they was going at it a lot of times in this match. And eventually Star Jr. tagged himself in. And then we see Star Jr. springboard off the top rope. But then Claudio pushes Mox out the way. And he catches Star Jr., lifts him up for a gorilla press, and then drops him into a cutter by Jon Moxley. Moxley pins him. 1, 2, as Spinhead breaks at the pin at the count of 2. But then after he breaks at the pin at the count of 2, he kept on trying to fight back between Claudio and Jon, hitting some chops onto him up until Claudio hits him with a European uppercut, grabs him, and he hits the Ricola bomb onto Espinhead, taking him out. And then while he has back turn, we see Mox getting rolled up, but Mox pretty much quickly rolls through from a pin from Star Jr. and knees him right upside the head and locks on a cross arm breaker, which makes Star Jr. tap out. So yeah, Jon Moxley and Claudio Castagnoli defeated Esfinge and Star Jr. tonight in a tag team match. That's why, but it was a pretty good match. I'll give that match 3.5 stars. That's why I'll give it a great match between those two teams. But then after the match ended, Jon Moxley grabs the mic and he says he don't care whichever tag team it is, or around the world, or in CMLL. They ain't gonna disrespect him and stuff like that. So yeah, that's what he says. But then all of a sudden, we see Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler, FTR. They come walking out and they get face to face with Jon Moxley and Claudio Castagnoli. And when they got face to face with them, we see Mox and Dax talking, and Mox pushes Pieface Dax there, and then we see a all-out brawl going out. Dax and Jon going at it, and Cash and Claudio's going at it with a bunch of referees and wrestlers and stuff trying to pull them apart. And yeah, it was just continuing on. So yeah, that's what happened there. Great stuff though. But yeah, still to come, a lot of stuff on Collision. So yeah, we'll be looking out for that for sure. But yeah, like I said, great match. I'll give that match 3.5 stars. Great opener for Collision tonight. And what happened after the match was great as well with FTR and the Blackpool Combat Club. So yeah, like, we're going to get to that feud now, which will be pretty good tag team matches. So yeah, I'll see you guys later until the next thing that happens on AEW Collision. See you guys later. Until then. So the next thing that happened on AEW Collision, we get to the next match of the night. It was Daniel Garcia versus Shane Taylor with Lee Moriarty at ringside in the Shane Taylor promotion. So yeah, we get to this match. It was a pretty good match. Matt Menard was on commentary for this match. In this match, it was a pretty good match. Shane Taylor tried to do everything that he could do to try to beat Daniel Garcia. But at one point, we see Daniel Garcia going after Shane Taylor's leg, hitting a drop kick onto his leg a lot of times in this match, and doing everything that he could do to try to take down the big guy. And then, after he started taking his leg out and all that stuff, we actually see Shane Taylor hit a pop-up powerbomb onto Daniel Garcia, and then he flips him right back onto his knees, giving him a big right hand to the face. It looks like he's knocked him out. He pins him. 1, 2, Garcia barely kicking out at 2. Shane Taylor couldn't believe it, and Lee Moriarty couldn't either. And then he picks up Daniel Garcia, trying to package power driver onto him, but Daniel Garcia fought out of it, and then drop kicks Shane Taylor in the knee, tries to hit a power driver onto him, but then Shane Taylor reverses it into a back body drop. But then when he hit that back body drop onto him, Daniel Garcia tries to roll him up for a pin, but then Shane Taylor tries to fight out of that, try to hit a leg drop onto Daniel Garcia. Garcia moves out of the way and gets to the leg, and then he locks on a knee bar onto Shane Taylor, making him tap out. So yeah, Daniel Garcia defeated Shane Taylor tonight in a one-on-one match on Collision. That's what happened. Pretty good match, though. For that match, I'll give it 3 stars. That's why I'll give it a good match between those two guys. But then, after that match ended, we see the New Japan Pro Wrestling strong openweight champion, the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Champion, and the AEW Continental Crown Champion Eddie Kingston getting interviewed backstage. Eddie Kingston was talking about what the Young Bucks did was disrespectful to Sting and stuff like that. But he says what else is disrespectful is Bryan Danielson, and he says he wants a match against him at Revolution, and he says he wants to add in a little stipulation, and he says if he beats Bryan Danielson got to shake his hand and give him some respect. Even though he don't respect him, he says he's going to get his handshake. But yeah, that's what Eddie Kingston said. So yeah, that's what happened there. And up next, we're going to be seeing Brian Cage in action. So yeah, I'll see you guys later. Until then. So the next thing that happened on AEW Collision, we get to the next match of the night. It was Brian Cage versus the Outrunners in a 2-on-1 handicap match. Prince Nana was at ringside. Obviously, Brian Cage took control over Turbo and Truth, beating him down and stuff, laying him out. He hits a powerbomb onto one of them, and then locks on that submission hold with his knee onto their back, bending their legs back and all that stuff, making that one guy tap out. So yeah, Brian Cage defeated the Outrunners in a 2-on-1 handicap match. Obviously, it was just him dominating the match. But yeah, that's what happened there. But then after the match ended, we see Brian Cage see the mascot that the Outrunners came out with, and the mascot starts doing Prince Nana's dance, and Prince Nana starts dancing with him and stuff, and then Brian Cage attacks the mascot from behind, beating him down and all that up until the FTW champion Hook comes walking down, and Brian Cage and Hook starts beating down each other, going at it, and they go up the ramp, going backstage, brawling. So yeah, that's what happened there. So for that match, what happened after the match, I'll give it all a half of a star. That's what I'll give it. But then after all of that happened, we see Tomohiro Ishii getting interviewed with Roderick Strong and Mike Bennett and Matt Taven, the Undisputed Kingdom, and Roderick Strong was telling Ishii that he don't care if he beats Orange Cassidy. He says if he beats him for the AEW International Championship, he says that he'll see him at Revolution and beat him in that match. So yeah, that's what Roderick Strong was talking about, and then Matt Taven brought up Chaos and all that stuff. So yeah, just a lot of stuff right there. But yeah, later on tonight, Orange Cassidy versus Tomohiro Ishii for the AEW International Championship. So yeah, I'll see you guys later until the next thing that happens on AEW Collision. So the next thing to happen on AEW Collision, we get to the next segment of the night where we see Tony Schiavone. He's inside the ring and he introduces the Rated R superstar Adam Copeland. Adam Copeland comes down there and he starts talking about what the Young Bucks did to Sting and Darby Allin. He says that was a lot of disrespect on Dynamite. And he says that, you know, if he was there, he would have helped out Sting and Darby Allin. But he says that he wasn't, so he's going to give the Young Bucks, Matthew and Nicholas Jackson, a warning. So yeah, that's what Adam Copeland was talking about. But then he says, you know, he could challenge for pretty much any of the titles, like the TNT Championship, the AEW International Championship, or Eddie Kingston's titles. So he says the AEW International Championship, he says that he could challenge for, but like Roderick Strong has his eyes on that, so he's going to let that be. And he says that, you know, with Eddie Kingston, he says he'll see him down the line eventually. So yeah, that's what he says. But he says that he's going to go after the TNT Championship because he got some unfinished business with Christian Cage. But then he gets interrupted by Daniel Garcia. Daniel Garcia comes down and gets face-to-face to Adam Copeland. And he tells Adam Copeland, like, hey, you earned your matches and you earned a shot for the title and all that stuff. But he says he has earned it as well. And, you know, he's going after the TNT Championship as well. That's what Daniel Garcia said. And Adam Copeland was like, well, here, I got a proposal for you. How about this? Since FTR has been speaking very highly of you, and, you know, I take the word and all that stuff, how about me and you in the match on Dynamite in a number one contenders match? Winner faces Christian Cage. And Daniel Garcia was like, you know what, I accept that. And then they both shook hands. But then Daniel Garcia was trying to walk away, and Adam Copeland did not let go of his hand, pulled him back, and he says, just know, the only reason I ain't smacking the hell out of you right now is because you got done with the match not long ago. And he says that, just know that you're threatening to take food off my family's plate, and I don't like that. And he says, expect your ass to get beat on Dynamite. So yeah, that's what Adam Copeland says, and he walks out. Pretty good stuff though. So yeah, Adam Copeland versus Daniel Garcia 1-on-1 in a number one contenders match on AEW Dynamite. So yeah, that's what's going to be happening there. And then after that, we see Chris Statlander, Willow Nightingale, and Stokely Hathaway getting interviewed by Renee Paquette backstage. And they was talking about how they're going to go after Sky Blue and Julia Hart and how they never had the match against him, and they asked Stokely to make the match official, and he says sure, but Tony Khan got him blocked on the phone, so he says he needs one of their phones to contact him, and then he walks away. So yeah, that's what happened there. Pretty funny stuff. But yeah, up next we'll be seeing a one-on-one match. It will be Brody King versus Mark Briscoe one-on-one up next, and still to come later on tonight on Collision. It will be the AEW International Champion Orange Cassidy versus Tomohiro Ishii in a one-on-one match for the AEW International Championship. So yeah, that match is still to come later on tonight in the main event. So yeah, I'll see you guys later until the next thing that happens on AEW Collision. See you guys later. Until then. So the next thing to happen on AEW Collision, we get to the next match of the night. It was Brody King with the TBS champion Julia Hart at ringside of the House of Black versus Mark Briscoe one-on-one. So yeah, Mark Briscoe versus Brody King one-on-one, and we get to this match. And this match, it was a pretty good match. You know, Mark Briscoe brought in a stool chair so he could jump off the stool chair doing a front flip senton onto Brody King at one point in this match. And then at one point in this match, he tries to bring it into a table outside of the ring and stuff, but the referee stopped him and all that stuff. But speaking about that table, just remember that. So yeah, we get to the match, going back and forth and everything. Brody King coming up a few times, trying to beat Mark Briscoe, and Mark Briscoe was trying to do his best to beat down the big guy and stuff. But then we start getting towards the ending of this match where we see Mark Briscoe taking down Brody King, and then he starts climbing up the top turnbuckle, and he's getting distracted by Julia Hart. But then while he was getting distracted by Julia Hart because she was on the ring apron, Brody King comes up and pushes Mark Briscoe, and when he pushed Mark Briscoe off the top turnbuckle, Julia Hart ducks down, so he goes over her, doing a flip through a table outside of the ring that he set up outside there, and then he got thrown back into the ring, and he gets hit with Brody King's finish move, where he lifted him up into like a power driver type move, and then he pins him for the 1, 2, 3. So yeah, Brody King defeated Mark Briscoe tonight in a one-on-one match. That's what happened. But then after the match ended, Brody King lifts up Mark Briscoe, and he tells Julia Hart to get him, and then Julia Hart brings out like a metal spike and then stabs Mark Briscoe upside the head, causing him to be busted open. So yeah, that's what happened there. Pretty good match, and what happened after the match was pretty good. For all that stuff, I'll give it 3.5 stars. That's what I'll give it. It was a good one. But yeah, up next we will see Deonna Purrazzo versus Kiera Hogan one-on-one. Still to come later on time, we'll see Timeless Toni Storm in action tonight. And we will see the AEW International Championship on the line in the main event. But yeah, then after the match and all that stuff, we see the bounty hunter, Brian Keith, talking backstage. And Brian Keith was talking about how he's here to make money and all that stuff, and how he says he's here to collect bounties, have good matches and all that. And he says wherever he steps in the ring, he's going to collect their bounties. So yeah, that's what Brian Keith said. But yeah, next Deonna Purrazzo is in action. So yeah, I'll see you guys later. Until then. So we'll get to the next match of the night. It was a one-on-one match. It was Deonna Purrazzo versus Kiera Hogan one-on-one. So yeah, we get to this match. And this match, it was a pretty good match. Kiera Hogan trying to do everything that she could do to try to beat Deonna Purrazzo, but Deonna Purrazzo starts beating her down, going after her arms majority of the time in this match, like hitting some knees onto the arms and all that stuff. But then we started getting towards the ending of this match where we see Deonna Purrazzo taking down Kiera Hogan, beating her down and all that stuff, laying her out, and then lock on that submission hold. I forgot what it's called. But yeah, she locked on the submission hold, making Kiera Hogan tap out where she got her arms trapped. So yeah, Deonna Purrazzo defeated Kiera Hogan tonight in a one-on-one match. That's what happened. It was a good, little decent match. I'll give that match 2 stars. That's what I'll give it. But yeah, that's what happened there. Deonna Purrazzo showing her dominance right there. But then after the match ended, Deonna Purrazzo is walking up the ramp up until the AEW Women's World Champion, Timeless Toni Storm, comes walking out there and skipping around her and all that stuff, because up next, Toni Storm will be taking on Queen Aminata one-on-one up next. So yeah, that match is up next, and still to come later on tonight in the main event, it will be the AEW International Champion Orange Cassidy versus Tomohiro Ishii one-on-one for the AEW International Championship in the main event for tonight's episode of AEW Collision. So yeah, I'll see you guys later. Until then. So the next thing to happen on AEW Collision, we get to the next match of the night. It was the AEW Women's World Champion Timeless Toni Storm with Mariah May and Luther at ringside versus Queen Aminata one-on-one. So yeah, we get to this match, and this match was a pretty damn good match. Queen Aminata trying to do everything that she's trying to do to try to beat Toni Storm. Like, she kicks her upside the head, pins her, but Toni Storm barely kicking out at 2. And then at one point we actually see like Queen Aminata pretty much hit like a beach break onto Toni Storm, and only got a 2 count out of that. But then she tries to hit a hip attack onto Toni Storm, but Toni Storm trips her up in the corner, knocking her down. And then Toni Storm hits the hip attack onto Queen Aminata, picks her up, and then hits Storm Zero onto her, the power driver, and pins her for the 1, 2, 3. So yeah, Toni Storm defeated Queen Aminata tonight in a one-on-one match. But then, after the match ended, Toni Storm grabs a microphone. She starts laying down on the mat and starts talking about how it doesn't matter what Deonna Purrazzo tries to do. She says that she can do whatever type of moves onto her. She says that she'll fight through the pain and all that stuff. So yeah, that's what Toni Storm was talking about. And she was talking about how she got a new film releasing on AEW Dynamite this Wednesday called Wet Ink. So yeah, that's the new film that's going to be released on Dynamite. But yeah, up next will be the main event. It will be the AEW International Champion Orange Cassidy versus Tomohiro Ishii, one-on-one for the AEW International Championship. Up next in the main event for tonight's episode of AEW Collision. But yeah, for that match between Queen Aminata and Toni Storm, I'll give it 2.5 stars. That's why I'll give it. It was a good match. So yeah, that's why I'll give that match. It was a good one. But yeah, we'll see you guys later. Until then. So the next thing that happened on AEW Collision, it was a one-on-one match. It was the main event. It was the AEW International Champion Orange Cassidy versus Tomohiro Ishii, one-on-one for the AEW International Championship. So yeah, we get to this match. This match was a pretty damn good match. It was beating the hell out of each other, going back and forth and everything. But then we started getting towards the ending of this match where we see Orange Cassidy try to hit the orange punch onto Ishii, but Ishii ducks it, grabs him, and hits a dragon suplex onto Orange Cassidy. But Orange Cassidy got back up to his feet, ready to fight back again, and then he got hit with a vicious clothesline by Ishii. Ishii pins him. 1, 2, Orange barely kicking out at 2, and then Orange Cassidy finally hits the orange punch onto Ishii, but Ishii still standing, and then he hits Orange Cassidy with a headbutt, laying him out. He picks him up, trying to hit the brainbuster onto him, but Orange Cassidy lands on his feet behind him, tries to hit the orange punch again, but Ishii ducks it, and then tries to hit another brainbuster onto him, but then Orange Cassidy reverses it, rolling him up for an inside cradle, pinning him for the 1, 2, 3. So yeah, Orange Cassidy defeated Tomohiro Ishii one-on-one tonight, and he has retained the AEW International Championship. That's what happened. But then after the match ended, Ishii done walked out the ring and all that, and then we see Roderick Strong, Matt Taven, and Mike Bennett, the Undisputed Kingdom, come running down, and then Matt Taven and Mike Bennett picks up Orange Cassidy and hits a double team power driver onto him, laying him out. And then Tomohiro Ishii comes running back into the ring, scaring the Undisputed Kingdom out of the ring, and then we see Trent Beretta come running in there with a steel chair as well. So yeah, that's what happened there. Pretty good match. What happened after the match was all good. I'll give it all that stuff 4 stars. That's why I'll give it. It was a good one. I would say that was match of the night right there. Actually, I'll probably say that tag team match from earlier was match of the night, maybe. That match that kicked off the show with Jon Moxley and all of them. So yeah, I would say that was match of the night, actually. But yeah, still a really good main event. That's why I'll give it 4 stars. But yeah, that has been my AEW Collision reviews for tonight's AEW Collision. I'll give it 8 stars. That's why I'll give it. It was a good episode. But yeah, that's why I'll give tonight's show. Like, subscribe to TNW Wrestling on YouTube, subscribe to my other channel, Word of Chris, and subscribe to this channel, Chris Bales, and follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and both of my TikToks. I'll be down there in the description box, and I'll see you guys later for this Monday's Monday Night Raw reviews. See you guys later. Until then.